So let us move, let us march on, chat. See what we got going on here. By the way, because we talked about it, the rotation for you guys right now, still looking okay, but the lineup was the question. And, well, you have good news. Yeah, it's playing guys that you'd want. Wow, Charlie Blackmon's down to a 59. Whew. That lifetime contract. You better hope he retires. You better hope. But yeah, you are playing all the guys that you'd like to see play, the younger players. So that's pretty good. In terms of contract extensions, because we can talk about this now, Montero, you might as well sign him. You might as well sign him. He's a good backup to Manzardo. Bernabel's a third baseman. Again, one of those situations you just need bodies. And he's not going to be so expensive that he's going to stop you from signing somebody major. As we saw last year, you end up with more money in the offseason. Brendan Rodgers. It's still worth keeping Brendan Rodgers for now. If you end up signing his replacement afterwards, then cool. But you got no one who's close to taking over for him. It's still worth holding on to him until you get that replacement. It's not really worth being like, oh, well, we'll see who's out there. Because then what if you lose Brendan? Or it's like, oh, well, there is that second baseman, but also there's this guy that we really want in another position. And then you don't have a second baseman. So Rodgers, definitely worth keeping. I mean, even a 1-year deal, right? Even a 1-year deal. Get him for dirt cheap, $6.5 million. He wants more years. What if we go 2 years with a player option? There you go. So you at least got him locked down for another year. Kyle Datras is worth keeping just for AAA purposes to try and help your AAA club get to the goddamn playoffs if you can. Obviously, you got to keep CJ Abrams. You get the 3 arbitration years left. He wants a little bit more money, which isn't surprising. I mean, he can... All right, you're going to have to overpay Abrams a little bit unless you want to go to outright arbitration. Abrams is worth waiting for because you do have the arbitrator. Peguero. See if he'll accept what he's worth. Going to have to go to arbitration with Peguero as well. Braylon Wimmer. Jesus. Just sign him for 6 years at dirt cheap. There you go. You got a nice depth shortstop forever. Wyatt Langford. It's projected to be making $19 million in 7 years. I mean, he's your guy already. There's really no reason to not sign him for 6 years at 2.6 if you can. Like, he is the guy already in that position. He is not interested in signing for that long, though, that's for sure. I mean, shit, even if you call him a star player already, because he is, I mean, it looks like $4 million. Those arbitration years, after those 3 years at 930, which is nice, the arbitration years by that point, he could be looking for double. Right? Anybody want to object to that? I think that's the deal to take right there. You get him locked up until he's 30 years old at $4 million. People aren't disagreeing so far. Seems like a no-brainer. Just label him as a star already because he is going to be your starting left fielder. All right, it's going through. Oh, he wants a shorter deal. Oh, that's a shame. Well, go for the 3-year deal then at dirt cheap. It was worth a shot. $900K for 3 years. There you go. That's still a really good deal. For the pitchers, Santillan is definitely worth keeping. Rule 5 pickup for you guys. 28 years old. Koch is worth keeping as well. I mean, guy's 35 years old, so I mean, he doesn't even want term. There you go. Relievers, Ian Hamilton, definitely worth keeping. Again, that was a great deal for you guys. Jalen Beeks, also still worth keeping for you guys for the foreseeable future. Again, right now, it's just about making sure you still have some freaking organizational depth. Let's see if we can just overpay him a little bit. Come on, buddy. Just take the deal. It's a one-year deal. Even John King, I mean, it's still better than having like a 38 overall guy in AAA and AA, you know? Still the better way to go. Tyler Kinley as well. How much money does this guy want? I mean, just give him the 4 years. Who cares? Cal Quantrill, also worth keeping for you guys. Again, right now, it's less about performance and just more about making sure that you have the roster filled out, you know? 2-year deal for Quantrill's not bad. Same thing for German Marquez. If you can sign him, do it. Just for a year, short term, but keep people under contract. You're running out of money now, but again, you'll have more in the offseason. It happened last year, as we learned. So, you're not technically running out of money, even though it looks like it. Yeah, you got to go to arbitration with Peter Lambert anyway. So, yeah, can leave it at that. Few guys left to sign, but for the most part, good to get those deals out of the way early, especially with the younger guys before they get better. For myself, Whit Merrifield, I might as well keep him. Even just for the depth of it. Might as well keep him. Cooper Kinney. We'll go to the renewable. Eloy Jimenez, same thing. Gotta keep you for now. Can't afford to lose you for nothing. Yeah, you would like security, wouldn't you? You would. Dominic Fletcher, I gotta keep you too. Hope I can trade you or just bury you in the minors. Should worse come to worse. Geronimo is a revelation. Keep him for dirt cheap. Garrett. All right, Garrett now wants to get paid. Well, I don't plan on losing this guy. That's for sure. Let's see. Yes, for $8 million beyond 4 years. We'll bring him up to 4 years to age 30. There we go. Joey Barlow. And a 2.2. And then for the starters, again, that I can't really afford to lose. Ah, well, don't have the money anymore. It's fine. We'll have the money in the offseason. So for now, we're good to go. We're good to go. The big question will be just where the hell we finish up the regular season. I mean, I don't know how the hell my team's won 55 games with the pitching staff that we have. So we get ready to play a series against one another. And, well, a good series for the Rockies. Thank you, chat. It was very kind of you. Let's see. AAA ball club won 70 games. It's nuts. Both of our ball clubs actually did okay. Not too worried about minor league playoffs, of course. So the White Sox finish at 62-100. The Rockies at 71-93. Very surprising. As we'll worry about the bracket in a minute. So that was the second worst team in the American League. 5 wins ahead of Oakland. And you guys were the second worst team in the National League. 3 wins ahead of Washington. Yeah, 71 wins for you guys. Puts you just in top 5 odds for the lottery. It was close. It was damn close. In terms of the playoffs, Texas, Seattle, Tampa, Baltimore, with Cleveland and Houston having the byes. The other side is Philly, San Diego, Pittsburgh, Arizona, with Atlanta, and the reigning champion Dodgers getting the byes. Let's take a look at our stats for the year. We'll start off with your Rockies. So 13 wins for Cortez this year. Over 200 innings. 145 strikeouts. Lowest ERA on the team outside of Chase Dollander, who got 31 innings. Man, Dollander. You guys made the right choice playing him in AAA for one more year. He's ready to go next season. You guys made the right choice. That was some great development for Dollander. Wow. Wow, so the Cortez signing, Dollander, things are starting to look up a little bit for you guys. Only pitcher with a sub-4 FIP was Cortez. For the relievers, 80 innings for Jalen Beeks. Damn. Horrific season for Gilbert. He was awful. Wow. And Santillan was also terrible. 20 innings pitched. Yep. He was also terrible. But he's a body for you. Catcher. It was Huff and Amaya again this season. Amaya is abysmal at the plate. Huff was solid. He's a good filler guy for you until you know if Drew Romo is actually going to make it. First base, Kyle Manzardo. A little bit disappointing for him this year. He was better for you guys last year, but he is still a developing player. Bit of a disappointing year, though. Brendan Rodgers. Solid year at the plate by his standards. He's still good defensively. Under 100 strikeouts. Warming Bernabel. Played in 98 games, hit 11 home runs. He's actually pretty solid at the plate, and he's not bad defensively. Not a bad year for Bernabel. And then, of course, the shortstops between Abrams, Tovar, and Peguero. Peguero was great at the plate. 18 home runs. He was fantastic at the plate. Whereas Abrams and Tovar, definitely more defensively focused. In left, Wyatt Langford. And Fernandez also got to play some games in September. Langford was solid. That was a good trade for the purpose of being able to build around him in the future. So, not bad at all. Center field, Doyle. Actually wasn't bad at the plate. I think that's his best season at the plate for you guys so far. Absolutely. Brenton figured out how to hit a little bit and may have won another Gold Glove. Fair play. Brenton Doyle. I stood up for him when some of you guys were like, he can't hit. Trust. And then in right, Nolan Jones. Only 21 home runs, but was a great hitter this year. That is more like it from Nolan Jones. Rebounded from a bit of a down year last year. Of course, you're still paying him pennies. It's crazy. So all in all, pretty good season for you guys. For myself here, pitching-wise, 8 wins for Schuster. Holy shit. Yeah, as expected, pitching wasn't that great. Schuster was the only starter with a sub-4 ERA. Which is kind of ridiculous. In terms of the relievers, 13 wins for Baroa, a reliever. Holy shit. Dude, he had more innings than all but 2 of my starters. That's how often people weren't making it through. That's insane. And then Geronimo was a rookie. 20 walks, 57 strikeouts. Up to an 82. Oh, dude, Rafael Geronimo is insane. Catchers for me. Stassi, 14 home runs. Lee was actually half decent at the plate. Filler players. First base, DJ Gladney, of course, took over midway through the season. He's not great, but he's also a sub-70 overall. Baldwin. Not great at the plate, but that's to be expected. Yohan Moncada, 15 home runs, 47 RBIs. Not great at the plate either. It'd be nice to move on from him eventually. Montgomery. Still not great at the plate, Colson. Still not great. Jimenez, only 15. Oh, Jimenez is, yeah, not great. Not great. Luis Robert, 28 home runs, 71 RBIs. Even Luis Robert had a down year. Oof. A declining Luis Robert. That's a bit scary. And then Dominic Fletcher in right. Had a pretty okay season. Well, the good thing is we are both focused on developing players. To take a look at the awards for the year, Corey Seager wins the AL MVP for the second time in 3 years. Wow. 52 dingers, 149 RBIs. NL MVP goes to Manny Machado. Manny Machado outduels Austin Riley and Shohei. 3 years, 3 different winners in the NL. AL Cy Young goes to Reed Detmers. He stops the Castillo streak. Yes, Juan Soto's on Oakland. He signed there as a free agent season 1. Can't disagree with Detmers there. McClanahan maybe. NL Cy Young, Tyler Glasnow for the second year in a row. That's a no-brainer. Shout out, though, to Bobby Miller and Paul Skeens being up there. Skeens, 86 overall, 23 years old. Let's see. Batting title in the AL goes to Yordan. 359 average. Jesus Christ. Yeah, Soto is still on the A's. The worst team in baseball. NL side, Ketel Marte. Ketel Marte, not bad. Reliever of the year in the AL, Emmanuel Clace. Hey, Garrett was up there. Goddamn. Mr. Crochet himself. That nifty finger work. On the NL side, Jose Leclerc. San Diego wins reliever of the year. I disagree with that vehemently. Evan Phillips. No, maybe not. Maybe not. Class A. Hey. They said Clace for like 6 years, okay? Rookie of the year in the AL, Todd William. No surprise. Yeah, super high rating. 18 years old. That guy's a beast. Brandon Lewis and Sal Stewart were also up there. On the NL side, hey, Bernabel was up there for you guys. But Ivan Melendez wins Rookie of the Year at 26 years old. Wow. That's nuts. The Hank Aaron Award winners, yeah, it's to be expected. In terms of Gold Gloves, did we have any Gold Glove or Silver Slugger winners? Manzardo almost won a Gold Glove. Did we have any winners? Shockingly, no. Not a great year for Gold Gloves for us, but that is it for season 3. Shout out to Giancarlo Ibar, who ends the season as the #1 prospect in baseball. I still have a top 10er with number 7 Andres Olivo. Another starting pitcher, by the way. My starting pitching looks like it could be insane moving forward. But let's find out who's going to win the World Series this year. As it's Seattle over Texas, Tampa over Baltimore, Washington over San Diego, and Arizona over Pittsburgh. Seattle upsets Cleveland, Houston over Tampa, Atlanta over Philly, and the Diamondbacks over the Dodgers. There will be a new champion this year. Your World Series in 2026. Houston and Atlanta. Meet the old boss and the new boss. Same as the old boss. God damn it, can somebody new actually win something? Houston and Atlanta. Houston, despite losing Kyle Tucker, still a really solid team. Still a really solid team, of course. And then Atlanta on the other side. Cunha, Strider, Atlanta's still stacked. Yeah. 2 really, really good teams. Surprise to nobody. Your champions in 2026, the Houston Astros. In 6 games. The Astros win it again. Second time in 3 years. Brendan Donovan, World Series MVP. Wow. The utility man himself, Brendan Donovan, World Series MVP. 3 seasons in the books. Both of our teams still suck, but we're on the come up. All right, as we got some contracts to deal with. In terms of retired players, Charlie Blackmon has retired. At 40 years old, down to a sub 60 overall. You guys have lost Charlie Blackmon. 07s indeed. Honestly, it wasn't until this last year where it's like, yeah, give it up, man. Damn. Bunny, take it easy, by the way. And I actually didn't have a single person retire. It's a bit surprising. Chris Sale is gone. Jose Abreu retires. And wow, Sale didn't make the Hall of Fame. Too much injury time. All right. So in terms of staff, I had the worst record. So I'm going to be able to go for that pitching coach first. And who do we have? Stephen Vogt could be the guy. Honestly, he is. Good old Steve, I need you. And for you guys, it's a farm director. EJ Hinch, Ralph Brooks, Mark Kotze. Bobby Keller's not bad. You lose some drag bunting, but Brian McGee has no negatives at all, but he's 70. So he's not going to be around too much longer. Jared Cheney, very good at improving your team bunting. You designed yourselves for small ball. William Newsom's he's the best one to go for. Easily. Easily. Overpay him just to get him. We've gone through those troubles before. In terms of exclusive free agents, Colby, I'd love to have you back, buddy. I would love to have you back. Give you a 2-year deal with 3.5. Hope that you take it. Eric Fettiwap. Still would like to see you around as well, even if it's an overpay. And Max Stassi. Ooh, $6 million on a club option. Oh, man, he is in free fall. What's my situation at catcher? Honestly, one more season with him and Corey Lee as the main man might not be that bad. It's an overpayment, but you know what? I'm actually going to keep him. For you guys, it's just John Birdie. Again, even though he's in decline, no reason not to keep him. Just to have kind of a warm body on the team. You still have $81 million of surplus. Sign him. Depth option. It's worth it. Yeah, I mean, we both have over $80 million to spend. So, let's see. Newsom's on as your farm director. Walker Buehler exercised that team option, so he'll be around for another year. No real surprise there. Lard and Birdie. I'm still waiting for that freaking pitching coach as well. We might actually be losing Allard and Birdie. We'll see. Stephen Vogt had to go to the fucking Cardinals instead. Dickhead. Who can I get instead? Manuel Brito. Go for Manuel Brito. That's fine. Gotta love when you spend a bunch of money and they still say, nah, I don't want to go to your team. So let's look at the Rockies here, chat. Let's look at the Rockies and what you might need. So a catcher, you still got Sam Huff and Amaya. You could say that Romo's not the guy anymore, but the Dinger McPiss Missile is. So you probably don't want to go after a catcher here, right? Because you do have the prospect in the system that looks like he will be a future starter. First base, you still have Kyle Manzardo. He might not be insane, but he is still a very good player to have and can rightfully be a starter. Second base, again, you got Brendan Rodgers. If you want to try to improve on him, you could, if there's someone out there. Third base. I mean, you can sign a veteran on a 1-year deal if you don't think that Tug McGroin should be the starter next year. If you think Tug McGroin should be the starter, you're good to go. Or you could just sign a depth veteran who's worse than him. And that way you can play like Bernabel and Mora down in the minors. Shortstop, I mean, Jesus Christ. You have a massive issue there in terms of just a logjam of talent. Left field, you got Wyatt Langford now. Mountain Oyster improved. You got Fernandez as well, so you really don't need anybody there. Center field, you still have Doyle, former Gold Glove winner. Now you got Gary Iwamura in the system. And then in right, Nolan Jones. And then in terms of a pitcher, could always use a reliever. Starter, you're honestly not looking that bad. You could look to improve there, but another reliever would be pretty good for you. So in terms of who's out there, Tariq Skubal at 30. Freddie Peralta at 30. Dustin May at 29. I mean, yeah, you're looking at guys late 20s, early 30s for a starter if you wanted to go that direction. In terms of relievers, Brian Abreu is fantastic. Gratterall, then Jason Adam gets a bit worse. So, I mean, a couple of good young relievers there. And for a closer, David Bednar, but he's 32. Alvarado's 31. I mean, you got good options. You just got to decide on starter or reliever. So again, at catcher, you have Sam Huff. You have a young prospect, Jonah Himes there at 31. Alejandro Kirk at 28. Ryan Jeffers at 29. So do you want Sam Huff to still be the short-term solution until Dinger is ready 2 years from now? Or are you saying screw Dinger and you go for Kirk or Heim? First base, again, you have Manzardo, but there's 30-year-old Ryan Mountcastle, Nate Lowe. Yandy Diaz is a bit too old. Second base, you got Brendan Rodgers. The only guy to really improve upon him with is Nico Horner at 29. Third base, I mean, right now it's looking like Tovar, Bernabel, or the other younger prospect you have whose name escapes me. I mean, Arenado's 35, Alec Bohm is 30. So, not looking great there. You might as well just go with the younger guy unless you want Bohm. Shortstops, you don't need one. Kim is there at 31. In left, you already have a good young left fielder. 30-year-old Dalton Varsho, Rosarena. Nobody to really go for. Center field's the interesting one. Again, you got the likes of Doyle and Fernandez. But do you go for Jazz at 29? Carlson at 28. Will good old Chaz Chisholm be the first guy that one of us takes a chance on? And then in right, you have Nolan Jones. So you don't need Garcia, you don't need O'Neill, Solar. So, chat, what are you thinking then? You kind of seen the full picture of what you might need. Razor shouting out a reliever and a bridge catcher. JD's going for a depth veteran third baseman, which would be like Ramon Urias, IKF, Eugenio Suarez, DJ LeMahieu. Cricket was shouting out Dylan Carlson as a short-term improvement at center field. And a lot of shouts for a relief pitcher. Again, you get one position player and one reliever. So position player right now, I'm hearing catcher, depth third baseman, Cam. Right there with you, buddy. Thank you for the follow, though. Welcome in. Happy to have you here. Another shout for catcher. It would be Kirk or Heim. As the improvement. All right, we got shouts for third base and we got shouts for catcher. So here's what we're going to do. Again, your situation at catcher, you have Sam Huff for pretty much another year or two until Dinger is ready to go. Maybe even Drew Romo if he makes it. For the record, Jonah Heim wants term. Alejandro Kirk wants term. Could get him on a 2-year deal, $23 million. Solo, Cam. Solo. But we are controlling 2 teams. Chat makes the decisions for the Rockies. I'm in control of the White Sox. So that's kind of the situation at catcher. I mean, again, you got Jeffers, who's up there, Real Muto.
I'm just trying to
and Sands of Time. Hell of a name. Thank you for the follow. Again, at third base, the situation is you're waiting for... Tug McGroin, you could argue, is already ready. If you were to go for a third baseman, again, you'd be looking at like Urias or one of these depth options here, just to have a backup for him that's not complete garbage. So, can I do an online franchise this year? Probably not, just because the logistics of it is tough to pull off. How do you get to redo objectives in Road to the Show? Elaborate on redo objectives. If it's like the temporary in the moments challenges, you don't. If you missed it, you missed it. So what are we thinking, chat? Go for a catcher, go for a third baseman. You kind of know the situation. Will it be a catcher? Will it be a third baseman? We'll throw it to a vote and take it from there. And then in terms of relievers, we'll have to have a big discussion because there's a lot of options. That is true as well, that you have the litany of shortstops that will likely end up playing third. What it'll mean, though, is if you sign a depth third baseman, Bernabel can go down to AAA, get a little bit more seasoning instead of being the depth option. So, not a bad way to go. Let's see. Close vote right now. I'm surprised. Honestly, I'd probably go for the shortstop over the catcher. Just because I don't think building around another guy isn't that bad. But, I mean, again, if you can get one of the big 3, big 4 here in the meantime on a shorter term deal, then looks like catcher's going to win. Fair enough. So, again, Jonah Heim looking for $13 million. Kirk wants 23. Jeffers wants 16. Realmuto only wants 7. Realmuto is in decline. He's still serviceable at the plate. Jeffers, solid. Kirk, serviceable. Same for Heim. So, I mean, Jeffers, at least last year, was the best hitting catcher of the bunch. In terms of the best defensive catcher, it's Heim. And people are shouting out Jonah Heim to be the target. So we can aim for 2 years if you want. Can aim for the 2 years. You're going to have to overspend to get him, but not really. If we were to max out the offer, it would be 2 years at $17.1 million. If you were to add a team option, you'd have to spend a little bit more. But that is what a max offer would look like. Seeing shouts for 2+1. And again, if you wanted a max offer, it'd be $17.5 million with that team option. Any disagreements to this? Or is that the deal? Is Jonah Heim the guy? All right. Looks like that's the deal. Now, in terms of the reliever that you want to target, I imagine you're going to want like an 80 and up. So what we're going to do is look at the numbers, the performance based off of last year, and then the money, and see how that works out, right? So let's take a look here. We'll primarily go off of the back half again. FIP rating last year, Jojo Romero was horrific. Hoffman was okay. Jesus. Payamps was 50. Oh my God. 54 strike. I think you found your guy. Holy fuck. If you don't sign him, I'm going to. Holy shit. He was unbelievable last year. There's Jason Adam, who was also solid last year. Gratterall was good too. You know what? And he's younger. Gratterall might be the guy. Best season that we've seen so far outside of Payamps, and of course Gratterall's only 28. That might be the guy. And then 29-year-old Brian Abreu. Abreu was also really good. Abreu was also really good. And then in terms of closers, Jordan Romano, terrible. Alzolay wasn't bad last year. The year before, he wasn't that great. Evan Phillips also wasn't that bad. Let's see who else here fits the bill for you guys. Pete Fairbanks also wasn't that bad. Jose Alvarado. I mean, man, it's tough to go wrong. And then David Bednar was at a 3. So honestly, anybody over like a 3 fit from last year can pretty much be off the board. So the top 4, in terms of performance, Jose Alvarado, but he's 31, wants $10 million. Brian Abreu, who's 29, wants 9.8. Jesus. Gratterall, who is 28, wants 7. And then Yoel Payamps wants 3, but he's 33. Any disagreement on going after Bruce Dar as your one pitching target in free agency? I doubt there will be. He does look like the best option. All right. So the question is, how much term? The more term, the more he likes it. You could make an argument for a 7-year deal here. Get him until he's 35. You could argue 33. He's going to be cheap as hell regardless. It's just pretty much how long do you want to sign him? I'm seeing 4. So here, you know what? This is what we'll do. We will either go 2 years to age 30. We'll do 4 years to age 32. 5 years to age 33. 6 years to age 34. Or 7-year deal to bring him up to age 35. See what you guys think. Let's see what you think. And if there's a +1 involved, then hey, vote for the total amount of years. So, you know, even if you think it's a 7, you could technically say it'd be a 6 + 1 is still 7. 5 years right now is winning the vote. And of course, we'll do a max interest offer just to increase our chances since we're not allowed to renegotiate. If you miss, you miss. Napster shouting out a 4 + 1. Looks like 5 years is going to win this. So that is decided. It is going to be a 5-year deal. You can make the argument of a +1 if you care to. Thought that was a runoff. Oh no. Whatever wins, wins. So 7.4 is a max deal. With the +1, it's 7.6. You could front load it as well. That wouldn't be too bad. Any disagreements on that deal? And honestly, that looks like a pretty damn good deal, especially based on his performance. Any disagreement? Good deal. Perfect. Done. Send it. There you go. So chat's targets. Going to be Gratterall and Jonah Heim. Chat's going for it. What about the first baseman? You can say he was a third baseman, wasn't he? And I don't believe he shows up. at this time. Yeah, he's not there on the free agent list right now. He is not there. All right, so let's finish this up really quickly. Obviously, you still have arbitration hearings with the likes of C.J. Abrams. It would be 2 years at 4.9. Not a bad deal. And offer him arbitration at 4.9. Peguero would be 3 years at 2.9. Also not bad. Again, someone that might get traded sooner rather than later. It's not really worth giving him the big bucks yet. Feltner. Again, Feltner's just worth signing to have that depth. 1.7 for him. And then Peter Lambert's also worth signing just to maintain some depth. He's looking for a good amount of money, but again, you guys have so much goddamn money to spend. We both do. So, what the hell was the offer? 2.4? There you go. Quick and easy. In terms of the other contracts, Romo, Mr. Mick Piss Missile. I don't know why the hell I always struggle with that. Grant Levine. Frank Mora was trash. I'm a Mac. He's a PC. Got to try to sign Luigi. Doug McGroin. Looks like he'll be your starter next year. Mountain Oyster. Might also make that Major League roster sooner rather than later. All right. And then for the pitchers, you got Jesus Take the Wheel, Jolas Shoe Jackson, John Dowd. Man, in terms of drafting relievers, it's been a rough go for you guys so far. I swear to God, I thought that guy's name was Jason Mraz. McMahon, Criswell, again, all these guys, just sign them up. It's better than having the filler players as the depth. Orangelo and Mesut Ozil. Perfect. And then, last thing to focus on, the 40-man. There's really nobody to worry about. I mean, you could add McMahon because you'll have the space. That way you don't lose a 70-plus rated guy. Could also argue Criswell. Just to make sure you don't necessarily lose him right here in the Rule 5. Prosecki as well. Just a bunch of guys to add to the 40-man to try not to lose them right now until you know the full scope. For myself, with the White Sox, let's see what I can do here. Could definitely look for a catcher as well, although I kept Stassi and Corey Lee. I mean, I got the two younger guys that are about ready to take over. I might keep waiting. I need a first baseman. Gonzalez is almost ready to go at second base. I don't really have a depth third baseman, but I got Moncada. Still got Colson at shortstop. Jimenez in left. Roberts, Fletcher. And then in terms of starters, honestly, I think I'm good. I just got to wait for my younger guys to keep getting better. I need a reliever. Okay, I think I know what direction I'm going. I need a first baseman. Even if it's a filler player. Might have to be Ryan Mountcastle. 90 RBIs last year. Nate Lowe was very good last year. Struck out a lot. His OPS was great, though. I mean, Lowe is that temporary first baseman. Might not be the worst. Or I can just go... I mean, again, do I want to make my team too good too soon? I don't really want to do that. Dominic Smith wasn't that great last year. Josh Bell was phenomenal through 15 appearances. Could go for Goldschmidt. I just need a first baseman. It doesn't even really matter who. Goldschmidt actually has an offer. That's insane. in my head, I'm like, well, Nate Lowe, but I really don't want to cost myself higher draft picks still because the rest of the team isn't there yet. And based on the amount of wins I had last year, I'm worried we could win too many games. So I don't want to go for a big name option. They definitely need a dark mode for this game, Portland. You were correct. They definitely do. Garrett Cooper, when he last played, was terrible. And Josh Bell had some spark and limited playing time last year. Josh Bell, you're going to be my position player pick here. You are going to be my position player pick. I just need a filler first baseman that's not too good, but is decent enough. Although, then again, what's the point? What's the point? Why not just play Gladney if I want to be bad? Well, mainly because I need a depth option that's not total shit. Are you able to see player awards in order to show? Yes. You should still be able to hit the back button. Well, not develop, because I don't have anybody to develop at first base right now. That's the problem. And there's nobody on that free agent list that can actually develop. I am going to go with Josh Bell. 1 year deal. Mr. Bell, I'll pay you $2.5 million. And then from there, I might want to compete with Gratterall, to be honest. There's a Abreu. I mean, Piamp certainly isn't that bad, but he's older. Alvarado wasn't that bad either. Abreu was pretty good too. Do I want to compete with you guys? Alvarado was pretty damn good. Piamps was good, but he's too old. I think I'm going to go for Abreu. I'm going to go for the big money deal with Brian Abreu. I do need a closer. Give him a player option on that final year. Bump him up. $10.2 million, $61 million over 6 years. That's going to be... Actually, no, I'm going to go club option and pay him a little bit more. We're going to go $11 million flat. That's going to be my offer there. So again, for me, I'm going after Brian Abreu and Josh Bell. Chat's going after Jonah Heim and Brusdar Gratterall. I'm still trying to go slow and steady in terms of making my team better. I don't want to make them too good too quickly. Get to the point where we can make the playoffs, but then we can't win anything and we get stuck. That has happened before to both of us in this challenge in years past. And I would really like to avoid it. Let's see, Kurt Williams. Hold on to him as well. Jordan Sprinkle, Carlos Ballesteros, Zach DeLoach, Augustin Cardona, Cespedes in center, Johan Angelis, who I drafted, who is absolute shit. Herman, the rest of those guys were trash. Noah Schultz, Grant Taylor, Andreas Olivo, Austin Cox. Give him a 1 year deal, but not for too much. Richard Rosa, former first rounder of mine, who I don't think will... I mean, he doesn't have to be the ace, and that's the good news. Good Edgar Salazar, and Marshall Ham wasn't mine. Cool. I think we're all right. So the big question is, who is going to land their target signings? Edgar Quiero needs to be on the 40-man. Jordan Sprinkle. There's really nobody that I want to lose. If I lose Jordan Sprinkle, if I lose any of those guys, it's not that big of a deal. So I think we're good. The question now, who ends up where? David Bednar signs a 4-year deal with the Phillies, just under $10 million a year. Tariq Skubal, it's a big 6-year deal from the Diamondbacks. Do we have word yet? No, we do not. Do we have word yet? No, we do not. Do we have word yet? No, we do not. We're still in the mix. Jonah Heim on his way to the Rockies. Chat elects to go for a bigger fish free agent instead of continuing the build-up process. Jonah Heim on his way to Colorado. Alejandro Kirk goes to the Royals. Not to mention Gratterall. You got them both. Gratterall and Jonah Heim, both off to Colorado. I'm still waiting for answers from my free agent targets. Finally got my pitching coach. That took long enough. I believe I have an answer from Josh Bell, who was signed. Now it's just Brian Abreu. Where is he going to go? If I don't get him, it's not the end of the world. Boy, I would love to sign him. All right, just double checking here. Got 3 dudes who haven't signed yet. We should be okay, though. Nate Lowe on his way to the Cubs. 5-year deal. Brian Abreu on his way to Chicago. So we both landed each of our targets. Brian Abreu off to Chicago. Ryan Jeffers gets 4 years from Atlanta. Sweet. There we go. Free agency worked out really well for both of us in terms of what we were looking for. I am going to send Jordan Sprinkle an enhanced offer. Edgar, send you an enhanced offer. And then for chat, it's just Benny Montgomery. Was holding out for a little bit more. So CJ Abrams is still the one big holdout. And I now have too many players. So I got to cut some of the trash. Let's see, 2, 3. This happens every year. 4, 5. Whoops. A 6. A 7. I really don't want to have to cut every single player because I don't think it would fill out that many players through Rule 5, but cut that and then go over to you guys and do the same exact thing. Get rid of the filler. Make sure we have space for the Rule 5, which again, the good thing is we did discover that auto-simming through it can result in the AI choosing players for you since they still didn't fix the Rule 5 and let you control 2 teams at the same time like you can in the draft. Right now, we're good to go. Although you do have too many players on the 40-man. Really? I'm going to double check my 40-man here, too. Max Stassi, Baroa. We can get rid of Fetty off the 40-man. Honestly, if Shoemake gets claimed as well, it's not a big deal. And even Cesar Prieto. We'll see what happens there. For you guys, who's on your 40-man? Ah, that makes sense. Someone drafted 93 overall. Yeah, I saw that from Mills earlier. Someone got a 93 overall straight out of the draft, which is absolutely insane. I think is the best way to vocalize that. All right, there we go. Clear out the 40-man a bit for both teams. Still got guys like Jazz who haven't signed anywhere yet. As you guys lost Willie McIver to waivers, that's not a big deal. I mean, that's like your 5th string catcher. Freddie Peralta gets 6 years from Atlanta. Dalton Varsho, 6 years from the Cubs. Jazz takes the big 7-year deal from Kansas City. $30.3 million a year. Damn. That's got the big deal. Christian Javier on his way to Boston for Robbie Sorensen and Nick York. Just a look there at their ages and overalls. Red Sox making a big move. Imagine that. Ambition from the Red Sox. Nico Horner on his way to the Nats for 6 years. David Peterson gets 3 years from the Giants. Adolis Garcia on his way to Miami for the next 5 years. Jesus, up to age 39. Tristan McKenzie gets 4 years from the Braves. Atlanta spending some money this offseason. Drew Rasmussen, 5 years from the Angels. Ryan Mountcastle, 6 years from the Rays. Randy Arozarena gets 3 from the Angels. And we're just about to the Rule 5 draft. Here we go. Well, first up, the 2026 draft lottery. I am in the top 3 with the 16% chance. Chat has a 10% chance at the first overall pick this upcoming summer. Who's it going to be? Who's it going to be? How's the draft lottery going to play out? What's it going to be? Oakland retains the top pick. The Blue Jays jump 9 spots. And Chat's Rockies jump 2 spots to number 3. I fall 2 spots to number 4. The Blue Jays and Rockies both move up. Jesus Christ, the Blue Jays, though. That's insane. I mean, 3 and 4, it's not bad positioning. I'm all right with having the 4th pick instead of the 3 pick. I'll take that. That way, too, it puts pressure on you guys if you have to choose between 2 people. That's been a traditionally good spot for me, is Chat with pressure on their shoulders. We go to the Rule 5. Obviously, we won't be able to see what happens until we get to spring training and who might have been selected, but Brady Singer gets 3 years from Miami. Pete Fairbanks, 3 years from the Angels. Evan Phillips gets a year from the Rays. Dustin May, 5 years from Texas. Teoscar Hernandez, 3 years from Milwaukee at age 34. Alec Boehm on his way to Oakland. Oakland might actually be half decent next year, finally. Yandy Diaz gets a year from the Astros. So we are nearly to spring training. Nolan Arenado gets a year from Baltimore. Zach McKinstry. Hey, get a cheap deal for him. Then spring training. It'll be the big question of how to set up these rosters. And yeah, guys like Romo will still be in AAA. Dinger will still be in double. Pretty much what we'll do, as you guys did take second baseman Cameron Cawley in the Rule 5. It's not bad. You already made the decision, of course, that Tug McGroin was going to be a starter, right? You could argue leave him off the Major League roster and just go with the trio of shortstops, because one more season in AAA for Tug would honestly be pretty good for him. You know, he is Major League caliber, but think about what you did with the starting pitcher last year. At a 75, you kept him in AAA for one more year. He's a 79 now. It probably should be anybody under a 75. Fernandez could have one more year in AAA as well. Yeah, I think pretty much it'll be anybody under a 75 stays in the minors. But Gratterall there pretty much is the backbone. Yeah, Dollander's up to a 79 now. You guys are going to be okay. There's going to be a couple of little tweaks that we make, but you know, Chase Dollander now being behind Walker Buehler and Nestor Cortez, that's pretty damn good. That is pretty good. That's not a bad lineup. It's really not. I do wonder how good you guys will be this year. There's a chance you could push for a playoff spot. I don't think that's an unreasonable take. Obviously, I'm still going with the more slow and steady approach, which I don't hate. And fuck, Whit Merrifield's still going to be on my Major League roster. How the hell did I end up with so many shortstops? So yeah, you guys are definitely going to be a better team on paper. I just ended up with Zach McKinstry from the Rule 5, which I don't hate. So we'll see what happens. I mean, it is now the two different approaches. I'm going a little bit more slow and steady. And the big question now from chat is, how good are you going to be?